We are watching a new tornado warning that just came out, so we want to make sure folks are safe this afternoon. Let's get right to that. And you want to tell folks the counties that we're looking at here?
So we are looking at areas like Moore County, and as well as for places like Franklin County and Lincoln County. That is until 4:30. You guys are currently under a tornado warning at this time. So that does include the Fayetteville area. And we're actually going to take a closer view as we're zooming in closer there. And notice areas where you're seeing those magenta colors. Those are areas where you are actually seeing hail embedded with this storm. That's right along 231 there. This is going to continue to move east. And again, this is a tornado warning until 4:30 Central Time for portions of Lincoln, Moore, and Franklin counties. And right now we're looking closely into Lincoln County this hour near the Fayetteville area, where you do see where we could actually see the most robust gust in this storm. So let's actually take a closer view as we're looking at our velocity. And so that tells us the winds inside the storm and the direction that they're moving to pretty much pick out where we could see a possible tornado with this. So again, nothing confirmed with this, but we are looking at those winds. I'm not really seeing anything, Lisa, that's really catching my eye with this particular storm. But one thing to mention is that you're likely getting in with gusts around 60 or in excess of 60 miles per hour, which is enough to do damage to trees and power lines. So it's best to stay inside. Again, what you want to do in the event of a tornado warned storm is you want to protect your head. You want to get in the lowest level of your home, preferably if you have a basement. That is the best place to go to. If you don't have a basement, an interior closet, those are ideal areas to go to as well in the event of a tornado warned storm. We're going to switch it back over to reflectivity, something that you're familiar with looking at here, where we got a lot of those oranges and reds. Again, this is where we're finding the strongest part of that storm, and that is just on top of the Fayetteville area. We're looking towards Moore County there into Lynchburg, where you guys are getting in with the leading edge of this storm. So the storm is moving east roughly at about
45
miles per hour. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to put a storm track and time out these communities where you live so that we can get a general idea of this storm. So we're going to say it is moving east. We're going to draw it essentially just right along the leading edge here there into Fayetteville, and we are going to draw this just towards the east around roughly 45 miles an hour. So Lynchburg practically happening right now, but you are going to be getting in with the strongest winds in the storm right here within the next few minutes or so. You're looking at Moore County High School at 353, Bakertown at 357, Tullahoma at 405. And so that's what we are following so far as this tornado warned cell is moving in your area. Again, this is moving across the east there into Moore County here within the next little bit, moving east at about 45 miles per hour. Next on the list is Estill Springs, and then we're looking at the Detroit area, Winchester area also included there as you're looking into Franklin County included in this tornado warning. So you want to already be in your safe place right now. Again, this tornado warning until about 4:30 Central Time. Lisa?
Hey, Darius, let's do a kind of a reset here, because we know what's happening right here. So we're going to come right back to this. But we do want to let folks know across the entire mid-state what's going on here. We have been tracking this line of storms that moved in from West Tennessee, and now it stretches to well east of Nashville at this point, all the way down into Alabama. And all clear for you back here in Clarksville and Waverly. The storms have passed by. We've got some more rain coming in a little bit later on. But the worst of the weather is to the east, and it's really been down here across the southeast, where we do have severe thunderstorm warnings. And of course, then we just got this tornado warning. By the way, if you're up here in Smyrna and in Murfreesboro and even in Lebanon, you may be experiencing some lightning, but these storms are well below severe limits. But the lightning is really loud. It certainly was as it came through the Nashville area. So let's head back down one more time and take a peek at the storm that we see here. And this is our tornado warning that is in effect. We want to stay with this warning because we want to make sure that folks in this area are safe. They know what's going on. This does include Franklin, Lincoln, and Moore counties right now. And you note it is the northern part of those counties, and of course all of Moore County, most all of Moore County that you see right through here. Right now in Fayetteville, Nashville, you are in the thick of this storm right along 50. And then, of course, out ahead of it in Estill Springs and in Winchester. We're watching those locations very, very closely as all this is moving towards the east right now. Even outside of a tornado, you're going to experience some very heavy downpours. You're going to see some strong winds. As this storm is tracked across the south, we've already had power outages as a result back in Lawrence County. We had some confirmation of that. Also into Wayne County as well. Confirmation of those power outages. Let's take a look, Darius, as you're running that radar at the winds again and see if we can detect any kind of rotation. Are we looking from the Huntsville radar site right now?
This is the Huntsville site.
Okay.
Or excuse me, this is not the Huntsville site. Now this is the Huntsville site. There we go.
Yeah, and you know, a couple little spots in here we could watch closely that where we're seeing a little bit of a tight rotation in there. At least we've got the reds and the greens a little closer together, but nothing that just stands out as saying, okay, this is the spot right here. But we're watching this very closely right in through here. Could be a suspect area. So if you're in Fayetteville, that storm is very close to you right now, and it's right along 50, as you can see here, and going to be moving on towards the east. So maybe we can get a storm track from this area and even go down a little bit closer so we can pick up some of the roads that are here and show folks at home where exactly we're talking about. Right there along Highway 50, and then if we get some of them to pop in here, sometimes they have to get really low, but there's Locks Mill, Gaddiestown included in that. Look at some of the other roads over here. We're talking about folks that may be along Cooper Branch Road, Stevens Creek Road. That could be another location where we're getting some of that rotation taking place, which in turn could be a tornado. And this tornado warning is in effect until 4:30. We're at 3:52 right now as the storm is advancing on towards the east. Another area we'll watch is right up here around the Lynchburg area with some little particular areas that look like they could be showing some signs right in through there around Lynchburg. So this is a spot you'll want to watch out for. This is Pleasant Hill. This is Ridgeville that we're looking at right through here. And it's going to be crossing the Good Branch Road and over to around folks there along Griffin Road, as well as it moves on towards the east about 45 miles per hour. So let's go and do a storm track here across this area and show folks a little bit more of an estimate of the time. All right, so Darius is showing us again where that live radar is right now, and then where this is going to be headed in time as the storm moves on towards the east at this point. So we can draw that storm track in there. There we go. And we'll go from the leading edge of this. It's going to continue to move on towards the east, about 45 miles per hour. So Estill Springs, 4:06 is the estimated arrival time for you. Over to Winchester, and that's going to be at 4:10. Deckard at 4:11. And Franklin County High School right there at 4:12 is the most likely time if we do indeed have a tornado that would be arriving in your area as this whole storm advances towards the east right now. But even outside of a tornado, we're talking about some very strong winds, and you know that's one of the things you'll want to watch out for. Now, a couple of things we want you to keep in mind if you're in these counties, and we're talking about Lincoln, Moore, and Franklin County. Make sure you're in your safe spot, and where that is going to be the lowest level of your home, putting as many walls between you and the outside as possible. It's almost like building a fort. Bathrooms, closets tend to be the best spot to get in, just to be as safe as possible. And if you do live in a mobile home, if you're out ahead of the storm, it hasn't reached you yet, go on and maybe go to a neighbor's house. That might give you a little bit more protection. Now, we have a new tornado warning that is just popped up here. Let's see if I can get this to pop down and show us where that new warning is. And let me go over here and check, see, and we'll hit this button and get this to move on to show us where the new tornado warning is located. And that is really a continuation of this same storm. Now it looks like it's moving a little bit farther down to the south. So we're picking up some more counties. So it includes all of the county now for the most part in Lincoln, Franklin, and Moore. And then you can see extends over into Alabama right now. So that's what we're looking at this point with this storm.
So Darius? This is that new tornado warning for portions of Lincoln, southern sections of Moore and as well as into Franklin County. This now goes until 4:45. So this is this new tornado warning that is out for those areas. You're seeing the worst of the weather now just south and east of Fayetteville, right along 64 there. This is again crossing towards the Lincoln County, Franklin County line there towards Winchester in the path of this tornado warned cell. So we're really seeing a lot of this really showing a lot of robust gust potential with this. I mean, there could be winds in excess of 60 miles per hour with this particular storm as it continues to progress towards the east. So with this newly issued tornado warning, we're going to redraw out the storm track for you folks there so you guys get a general idea and an estimate here of what you can expect. So again, right along the leading edge of this is where you'll find the strongest of this storm as it continues to again move east roughly about 45 miles per hour. So you're looking at the Laura community at 403, Huntland at 408, Estill Springs at 411. So that's here within the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. Winchester at 413, Detchard at 415, and Franklin County High School there at 415 as well. So if anything, very high wind gust potential with this. It's showing a Boeing segment that is heading your way. This is the same storm, I believe, Lisa, that does have a history of producing some wind damage back as we were tracking this, say, towards Lawrence County and those areas there where they've had at least some windy conditions with this storm.
Yeah, some power outages there as well. Hey, Darius, let's go back and put on our wind where we can take a look and see if we can see some of those circulations. I particularly want to look around the Fayetteville area, and then there may be something also a little farther northward as well, but it should be off to the east of Fayetteville. So we're looking right, looks like maybe right in through here where we could see some rotation. So this is going to be a suspect area that the National Weather Service was looking at when they issued this warning, was right in this general vicinity. So if you are in this area just off to the east of Fayetteville, this is most likely the location. So let's go on and zoom down and get a closer look and see exactly where we're talking about here. Champ, Smithville, right there along 64. Those are some of the communities, and Kelso is an area. So it's just going to be east of you there in Kelso, and this is in effect, as you see there, until 4:45. And this is 64 that we're seeing right through here. You've got your Smithland community, and then let's call out some of these roads for you, because if you're in your safe spot, maybe you're just listening. Fish Hatchery Road, Shady Grove Cemetery Road, also folks there along Myritt Road. If you're in those areas, it's going to be crossing into your area. So it's going to be crossing where you are right now.
And there's
also,
a new scan.
Very good. Give us an update there.
US Highway 64, State Highway 121. You're looking towards Flintville right now. These communities there, Terry, Donovan Road, if these areas sound familiar to you, you want to already be in your safe place at this time. Approaching towards Stratton Road is where we're finding, at least for that possible rotation within this storm. And so we're seeing those winds. They're showing some shifts here, and so that's what we're currently following as far as where that tornado potential could be within this particular cell. So we're looking at Beans Creek, Huntland, Hickory Grove. You guys are included in this tornado warning. Walnut Grove, Falls Mill, Brown Mill, Maxwell already need to be in your safe place right now as we are tracking currently this tornado warned cell that is progressing eastward in your area. So again, you want to be in your safe place. And then, of course, we still have that tornado warning that is just to the north of this. That does still include Lynchburg, Estill Springs until 4:30. So you're looking at they're kind of overlapping here with some of these, but there you see that tornado warning. That's an extra 15, gives you an extra 15 minutes there for those southern sections of the counties that are currently Lincoln and Franklin and Moore counties until 4:45. So we're following this storm closely. We're looking at areas where we could see possible rotation with this. It's possible that when you get on the leading edge of these Boeing segments where you can get a quick perhaps spin up tornado, and where you can just kind of see the winds trying to catch up with the storm. And so that's where we'll find for that possibility there. So areas near or just east of Lynchburg, we could also see some possible rotation there. But the greatest area, at least more area that's kind of showing more concern here, is just south of the Marble Hill area. You're looking near the Champ area, the Lexi area, and near Lexi Cross roads.
Yeah, so just reiterating that if you're in those areas, want to make sure you are in your safe spot right now, because we're looking at some very high wind potential here. And what we're looking at is, when we look at the rotation detector, is winds that are blowing toward the radar site and away from the radar site, really close together. And if we're seeing that, that is a good indication of that's where we could be seeing some rotation with this storm. And that's why we say, okay, it's time to head to your safe spot. If you're in Lexi, the Lexi Crossroads area, over to Taylortown, you're all out ahead of this area that could be getting that rotation right now. Of course, you know, we don't have confirmation for sure on the ground, but this is our early warning system with Doppler radar, so we want to make sure that we are heeding those warnings and making sure we're in that safe spot right now. And we put it up there on the screen. We're talking about getting to the lowest level of your home, an interior room, protecting your head from flying debris. That is the #1 reason people are hurt during tornadoes. Use pillows, blankets, anything you can just to cover and protect yourself from that flying debris that could be out there. And I mentioned it a little while ago, if you're in a mobile home, or if you've got a loved one out on the road in a car, please make sure they are getting to a safer location where they will be protected from this tornado. And even getting outside into a ditch or a culvert is much better than staying in your vehicle or in a mobile home. But now we can see Huntland right here, but this definitely does look like one of the most suspect areas that we're seeing right there off to the northeast of Smithland, well east of Kelso, as this is moving towards the east. And Darius, let's draw a single instead of a line, but a single stretch out going from there to get a storm track to give folks some of these communities where this may be headed. It's going about 45 miles per hour, so we may have to broaden this window out just a little bit to allow those communities to come in. And what we'll find here is, as it pops up, it's going to be headed to Winchester around 4:18, Franklin County High School at 4:20. If you're in Deckard, the estimated arrival time is going to be 4:21, and then moving on out of our viewing area, we'll be over to Cowan at 4:25. So those are the spots we're talking about. All right, let's take a look again at that reflectivity for you and show you where we've got some of the heaviest parts of this storm. We also look to see if we can find a kind of a notch in the radar image as well. And we're certainly finding that here across the south, exactly where we were looking. And even another little notch is showing up right through here. So as Darius was mentioning, all up and down this line, we could get quick spin up tornadoes as they move on towards the east. And that's what we're seeing out here today. All right, let's have a bigger view and check the broader perspective so folks elsewhere can see what's happening in their area. I like to call it kind of our reset here. We'll go back to that DMA view, and there we go. We're looking at folks over here in Clarksville. The weather's fine for you. Waverly, no issues. And even in Nashville, it's just mainly some rain that is falling right now. In Hendersonville, you are not under a warning in any of these areas. Smyrna, Murfreesboro, no warning is in effect for you right now. Let's go back down here around the Manchester area and take a peek there. And things are you're under a warning here in Manchester. I thought I saw a new warning pop up. So we're under a warning right here. It does include Wartrace and over to Manchester right now, up to, well, Morrison, you're just out of it. But all this is moving towards the east. So what you can expect if you're in these communities, it's going to be some very gusty winds developing, heavy rain, as you can tell already just from looking at what's on our radar, and a lot of lightning. These storms are very electrical this afternoon, but the tornado warning is a little bit farther to the south. We see it right here. Look at all this lightning on the back side of this.
Wow.
By the way, if you're in Lynchburg, the storm has passed by you, so you're good to come out of your safe spot. And if you're in Fayetteville over here, you're good to come out of your safe spot as well, because the storm has passed by you at this point. But folks over here in Deckard and Estill Springs, Winchester, want to make sure you're hunkered down there and waiting this one out before it definitely before it moves through your area. We want to give you the all clear, though, when it's passed by, just like we did there with folks over in Lynchburg and also folks over here a little farther to the west in Fayetteville. Looks like we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. And we'll take a peek at which community that is for. And that's going to be a continuation there. If you want to take a look at that one, Darius, a kind of continuation of the one that we were just showing folks there.
Yes, so continuation of that severe thunderstorm warning. That does include portions of Coffee County. And there you see there into Manchester right now. You guys are actually getting the heaviest of the rain with this right now. Of course, some heavy hitting downpours, and that's enough to really cause some issues on the roadways. Of course, quick ponding on those roads. Really don't want to be out on the roads during a severe thunderstorm, not only just because it's raining so heavily, but because it's hard to see from of course, the rain that is falling so quickly, so that reduces visibility out there as well. And that also poses that risk for hydroplaning. So we're looking at Manchester right now. That's where you are finding the strongest of this particular severe warned storm in that area. And so that's right along I-24 there, and then State Highway 55. You're getting in with the heavy hitting rain right now. Towards Tullahoma, right now you're also getting in with some heavy rain, some gusty winds. And not only that, of course, you're not under that tornado warning, but you're still dealing with the threat of damaging wind gusts in these areas that are under the severe thunderstorm warning. And that's enough to cause issues, especially areas like where you have a lot of trees and power lines. Those are areas to really watch for. That could cause some numerous power outages as well in those areas. But you can actually see as this continues, and I'm actually going to see if I can lapse this within the last 30 minutes or so we can see the progression of these storms. And so notice they're all essentially pushing in from west to east. Good news with this is that I do believe once this gets out of here, our severe weather risk should diminish. So at least the strongest of the storms right now almost exiting out of the WSMV 4 viewing area. But there you see that crossing across the south and east towards Manchester. And then we're also looking towards Franklin County, where those areas are still under this tornado warning as well.
And Darius, just getting word from the National Weather Service, they're going to be trimming off the back edge of some of this warned area. Folks here, like in the Lynchburg area where it's passed by you. So they'll be trimming away as the storm moves on towards the east and takes the threat towards the east, as you see there. Just a reminder, we put it up there on the corner of your screen, that we have our First Alert app and our WSMV4 app. And anytime that we ask you to go to your safe spot, you can take your phone with you. If you've got that app on there, or quickly download it, and you can watch our coverage while you're still there in your safe spot. So you can see what we're seeing. You can take a look at the radar there as well as the storm is moving towards the east. You know, one thing I am noticing here is there's quite the bow showing up with this as well. And what that is showing me is that even outside of warning, we're talking about some very windy conditions with this storm. So that's what we're looking at this afternoon. All along, we thought that would be our greatest threat. And indeed, we did end up having this quick threat of a tornado like we have right now. That includes the southeast corner of Lincoln, also portions of Moore County and Franklin County, all included in that as the storm is moving eastward. All right, push that, if you mind, Darius, the image up just a little bit so we can get it out from under this banner here, and so folks can see the tail end of this and how far this goes as it moves towards the southeast. By the way, if you're wondering what this pink shading is, that is a severe thunderstorm watch that is in effect for these counties across the southeast and those over into East Tennessee as well. We are looking at folks, particularly here in off to the east, that we're most concerned about. Let's take a little deep dive down around Winchester and Estill Springs. Let's look again at our winds, because I want to see exactly where this rotation is and if it's still holding together as we look up and down this line. So it's going to be right in through here, just off to the west, looks like, of Winchester, where we could most likely see some rotation if it's indeed taking place right here. And, you know, the idea is we know the storm is rotating happening? Is it reaching the ground? So if we have a tornado, this is going to be the most likely spot where that would be. We are getting a message from the National Weather Service that they're working just clearing the tornado warning from Lincoln and Moore counties. So that just tells us the storm is continuing to move towards the east and now including just Franklin County. So they're going to be trimming away Lincoln and Moore County from the warning, which is exactly what we're seeing as this is moving on into Franklin County at this point. Let's do a storm track here from just to maybe make an X right there on that little spot where it looks like that we're seeing this possible rotation that we're looking at, this possible tornado right through here. And then let's try to do a storm track from there and about 45 miles per hour moving to the east and get an idea of where it's going. Well, I know, yeah, we just fit that in the window there. All right, so it's going to be right on top of you at Winchester just in a moment. It's 4:13. It's 4:10 now, by the way. And over at Franklin County High School at 4:15. Deckard at 4:16 is the estimated arrival time. Then continuing over to Cowan at 4:21, Swanee at 4:28, Pelham at 4:34, and Mont Eagle at 4:34. If I call that community, you're in that area, please make sure you're in your safe spot right now. There is a possible tornado that is coming here across Franklin County. So safe spot's going to be lowest level of your home. And we're talking a bathroom, we're talking maybe a closet, somewhere where you can get that you've got protection from the outside. That's what we're trying to do, is put as many walls between you and the storm that's going through as possible. So that's why we give you that advice if you're in those communities. And then eventually, if you've got friends over in Swanee, give them a heads up, give them a call that there are some storms that will be headed their way very, very soon. But right there around Winchester, if you're in Winchester, make sure that you are taking this warning, getting into that safe spot. That's the best advice that we can give you right now with this storm moving so close to you at this point. Winds could possibly be gusting up well over 60, 70 miles an hour, even outside of a tornado. So just another reason that you want to be extra careful, extra cautious with this storm. We've had a history of power outages, trees down as the storm has moved across southern Middle Tennessee. But those are the communities that we're watching. By the way, 4:26 is the estimated arrival time in Swanee. If you've got any friends that you might want to give them a call over there, or folks that you know they're in Swanee, but just a little bit longer, and this is going to be out of our viewing area. But right now, we definitely want to protect those folks that are in the Winchester area. How about we do reflectivity again and show folks where the heaviest downpours are coming down right now, and you can see them just on top of you there in Winchester. And we always look for some kind of a notch that's showing up on our radar. And this is not a classic notch, but we are seeing something that could represent the winds blowing in, which would make that rotation form there in the Winchester area. Our warning, by the way, is in effect until 4:45. It is 4:13 right now. The storm is moving pretty quickly onto the east at 45 miles per hour, so we're hoping that's going to get out of here very, very shortly. Let's have another reset for folks that are elsewhere, because we want to make sure you are aware of what's going on to your area. This is the only tornado warning that we have in effect. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect just north of there, includes the Manchester area. We'll check that in a moment. Anybody off to the west, though, things are fine for you. You're going to encounter a little more rain. We're not quite done with the rain, but in terms of storms, that threat is going to be dying out. Cookeville, you're about to get some of the heavier downpours right now. Over McMinnville, we're going to see some of the heavier rain moving into your area too. But by far, the worst of the storm is right here along this Tennessee and Alabama line, as this part of the storm has had a quick spin-up tornado in it right through here, and it continues to move towards the east right now, and hopefully quickly enough that it can get out of our viewing area. Right around Winchester is the most likely spot, though, that we're seeing some possible rotation, which in turn could be a tornado right now. Darius? And
it looks like Lincoln and Moore counties are no longer included in that tornado warned cell. So that is pressing towards the east. You guys have the all clear as far as that tornado warning goes. It is now just into portions of Franklin County for those areas that are still under the tornado warned storm. And again, it's Winchester that we're following so far, where we kind of see a little bit of that notching as a possibility with this storm. So we're going to zoom back in a little closer to Winchester just to kind of show you some of those areas that could potentially see a possible tornado, or if anything, If it's not a tornado, it's the threat for damaging winds. I mean, this is pretty much bringing some robust gusts across the area. Winds in excess of 60 miles an hour. So we're closely following that right now as we're taking a look in towards the Detroit area and the Winchester area at this time. So again, that tornado warning until 4:45 Central Time. We're going to pull back up the velocity, so that tells us the winds and the direction of those winds within the storm. And so we're still looking towards the Winchester area where we could see a little bit of that shear still showing up, and of course that notching. So the Winchester area, right on top of you, here are the roads: Williams Lane, Arnold Farm Road, those areas. You're looking at South College Street there in downtown Winchester. If these areas sound familiar to you, you want to already be in your safe place right now. We're looking at areas like Green Hall, Sewanee area, Midway area, Bobtown, still included in this tornado warning, but it is headed generally in your direction as this is moving east at about 45 miles per hour. And so nothing, is there anything new in that chat that?
No, just relaying the information that, you know, the overall tornado threat all day long has been fairly low. But what we're doing is what Darius and I have both mentioned is along a line like this, you can get these quick spin up tornadoes. There's been no confirmation yet of a tornado on the ground, and that is good news. But we're still under this warning because of the possibility that we could see one of these rotating storms drop a tornado. That's why we're staying with you until the threat has moved beyond our viewing area, and it's still with us here around the Winchester area, around Deckard, right through here. I see a couple of little spots where we've got them that, got a new scan here,
right.
Which is good. That shows us this storm is continuing to move on out. So now it's looking like maybe right in through here could be a suspicious area. So move by you now in Winchester and is pushing on to the east towards Cowan right now, and then eventually into St. Mary's and also towards the Rockledge area. And that means it will be moving out of our viewing area as it does so. Let's pull out just a little bit now that we've kind of identified where it's most likely right now. So folks over here in Deckard, I still want you to hang tight with us just a few more minutes until we're good and sure that this is beyond you. There's a lot of lightning in this storm, so it's pretty dangerous, and just in terms of lightning being outside. So I want to make sure you're staying inside anyway, just to make sure you're protected from that lightning right now. Let's take a look at this, and let's do a storm track from here. Identify this, and maybe first off, let's dive down and get some of these roads to pop up for us, because that looks to be the most suspicious area right now that we could be seeing some of that rotation take place. So we're talking about folks that are over along Sewanee Highway, Davis Street, perhaps in Water Tank Road and Georgia Crossing Road. If those sound familiar, you're in the area where that possible tornado is located, Turnpike Road. And this is going to be headed to you in Cowan and over toward Rockledge as well. Getting an updated storm track on here as Darius is drawing that for us. Storm moving to the east at 45 miles per hour, and that's going to bring it over to Cowan at 4:21, Sewanee at 4:28, Monteagle right around 4:35, into Tracy City at 4:43. So we know that's going to be headed out of our viewing area. If you know somebody in those communities, give them a call, let them know what is going on. All right, let's pull out, let's put back on the reflectivity again and take a look at how that storm has progressed. We'd love to give the all clear to some more folks that are out here. So pull out just a little bit more, and you can see how the storm has really moved onto the east at this point, past folks there. Let's say if you're west of 24, no issues for you. But right over here in Franklin County, we're still seeing some of the stronger storms, but no worries for folks back here in Fayetteville. If you're in Lynchburg, the storm has passed by you now. If you're up here in Tullahoma, you've still got some storms on the east side of town, so just watch that. You're not under a tornado warning here, but you are right there in the midst of that thunderstorm where we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. And then our tornado warning is right down through here. And let's go down just a little bit lower so I can see some of these communities that'll pop up here. Folks in Estill Springs, you look to be just north of where that possible tornado is, if there is one indeed. But I want you to go in and stay in your safe spot just a little bit longer as you're just on the edge of that warning as we see it right there as the storm is tracking on towards the east, because we've got a couple of different warnings. Let's click on those. This one to the top here, that's tornado warning in effect until 4:30 for you, includes Estill Springs. And then the next one a little bit south of that, because there's two different warnings that we're showing up here. That one in effect until 4:45 if you are in Franklin County. So a couple of different warnings that are showing up here for us. But I tell you, these storms are tracking along. And the good news here is once this moves on to the east, heads over into East Tennessee, that is going to be it for the severe threat for us for tonight. It does look like things will calm down and we will get some rain for later on tonight, but I don't think we will be dealing with the severe threat that we have right now that is upon you here in the Winchester area, moving to the east of Winchester now, headed over towards Cowan. And we do have a little notch showing up in our imagery right through here, and that is the reflectivity where we're getting that notch. And I see our live radar. Let's do the other perspective, and it's so beneficial to have two different radars. Let's take a look at Huntsville, because Huntsville is just over the state line here. Their radar site is, and that gives us another perspective. And look at that notch. That's most likely where that tornado is going to be. We've been pointing it out to you with our look at the winds, and now we can see it with that notch right through here. And how about we put a little X right there, Darius, and let's see if that lines up after this week comes by. Let's see if that lines up with where we are seeing the winds that show that rotation right here as we check our rotation detector again and get an idea if it's in the same spot, because most likely it is. So yeah, we're seeing that pretty close right through there. If you interrogate that and click on the winds, what are the winds like through here?
Yeah, let's inspect some of these winds. Of course, there's been reports of winds in excess of 60 miles an hour with this storm. This is showing collectively, you could get winds in excess of 60 miles an hour near the Cowan area there into Franklin County. So that's what we're following so far as these storms. Again, they've been packing some pretty robust gusts in excess of 60 miles an hour. It's possible, not confirmed, but it's possible that you could have seen a 70-mile-per-hour gusts as these storms worked their way through portions of southern Middle Tennessee. So that's what we're seeing as far as the storm threat goes. Again, the greatest of that currently into Franklin County, currently under two separate tornado warnings, one until 4:30 and then the next one until 4:45. One at 4:30 is for northern sections of Franklin County, and the one until 4:45 is for southern sections of Franklin County. That does include the Cowan area. So we're looking at the updated scan and notice that still continues to progress towards the east. I'm going to put another storm track for those areas. It looks to be now east of Cowan and towards the Sewanee area as this continues to cross in towards the east in those general areas. So let's put that storm track again. This has been moving east roughly about 45 miles per hour. So here are some of the communities. Tracy City, as this storm, you guys are not currently under a tornado warning, but if this rotation still continues to hold together there, that's outside of our viewing area there, but if that continues to hold together, that is until about 4:43, so within the next, it's 4:23 now, so that's within the next 20 minutes or so. Looks like a new severe thunderstorm warning is issued for portions of the area, and so we'll see, kind of investigate exactly where that severe thunderstorm warning is. And so that looks to be an extension of the severe thunderstorm warnings that we've been following so far with this cluster that is essentially across the south and east. And so there you see that actually continues there into portions of Alabama for those severe storms that are currently in there. So that's what we're following so far. Again, the reset, if we can just show you the broad view of everything here and pull back up the radar for you. And notice a lot of the activity that we're following is mainly across the south and the east. And so that's where I'm generally seeing a lot of these severe warnings that we are currently seeing across the area. So just to pull that up for you there, you're looking at Nashville. We just had a few showers that are still lingering out there right now, but a lot of this now drifting off across the east to Smyrna community, Murfreesboro, just getting in with some light, steady rains. But again, the strongest of the storms, what we're following is just towards south and east. New tornado warning. It looks like they extended that for portions of, I believe that is just east of Franklin County. So it looks like they're going to continue with that tornado warning there, and that goes until about 5 o'clock.